Yo, what is up guys? Good morning. This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Malt channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. Welcome back yet again everybody. As promised, I am unloading my fragrance review videos back to back simply because now I have the actual time to do them, and I have been trying these fragrances for the past 2 weeks, past months, and I've always wanted to make the videos, just never had the time to do them. So today we are going to talk about one of the latest Tom Ford releases. This is 1 out of 3 of the Tom Ford Rose Garden collection, guys, okay? And maybe a lot of you are already thinking Rose is pretty played out, especially those that have bought rosewood fragrances, fresh rose fragrances, and rose patchouli fragrances. And some of you are probably thinking like, man, another one? They came out with 3 rose fragrances. How played out is that? Well, today I'm going to review this one, okay? Now, what I did, instead of reviewing the entire collection, was I looked around, I listened, and I found out that a lot of people think that this one right here, which I'm about to review, is the best in the collection. Much like my recent video, Halfeti Cedar, a lot of people thought that Halfeti Cedar was the best, and so that's exactly what I reviewed. And so with my limited time, I just thought, hey, let's just order the one that a lot of people think is the best. And here it is right here. This is Tom Ford Rose de Chine, okay? Tom Ford Rose de Chine. And this is part, again, of the Rose Garden collection. And one of it is like Rose de Amalfi. The other one is Rose de Russie. And this is Rose de Chine. So obviously Russia, Amalfi Coast in Italy, and then you've got China right here, okay? So this one really piqued my interest because, like I said, a lot of people think that this is the best. It's highly wearable according to a lot of people. And there's also a lot of feedback that I am going to address regarding this fragrance. I'll tell you, there's a lot more to it than what you guys see on the notes, okay? So the thing about the notes of this fragrance is that it's a total mystery because you have yellow Chinese peony, which I guarantee you a lot of people haven't smelled in their lives. And then you have the rose on rose absolute distillation, all right? So what the heck is that? I don't know what that is. Don't ask me. You'd probably have to be working for Tom Ford to really know what exactly it is that they made there on their rose on rose distillation. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what I smell on this fragrance so that it's easy to understand. We don't have to really dig deep into what is a rose on rose distillation. I will be talking about the performance. I will be talking about the usage. Obviously, just looking at this, this could be a more unisex type of fragrance, maybe even femme. I'm going to validate that. And then I will also talk about how it links to maybe the inspiration. Why is it Rose de Chine? What does it have to do with maybe the Chinese heritage or maybe the Chinese history? Now, before I continue, as always, we're going to spray this thing right now. Okay, so first things first regarding Rose de Chine, the thing that's really linked into China exactly when it comes to this fragrance is the first note, which is your golden yellow Chinese peony. Okay, so this is a floral note that starts up really fresh. It starts up fresh. It smells to me similar to water lilies. If you've ever smelled water lilies as a note in fragrance, that's how I feel when I smell this one. Not only is it fresh, but it is a floral note that, in my opinion, feels calm and relaxing. It makes me feel calm and relaxing. And they did say that the thing about peonies is that it also has a tinge of rose and geranium. Now, when it comes to this fragrance right here, first part, you're gonna get the yellow peonies immediately. However, the thing that I find really interesting, and I smelled this and I wanted to really verify that, so I looked into the Fragcom feedback just to be sure. Immediately after the yellow peony smell, you are going to get the smell of matcha tea. All right, there's a matcha tea smell. It's unmistakable. I don't know if that's the yellow peony or is that the yellow peony mixed with that rose on rose distillation. But without a doubt, guys, I smelled matcha, okay? And I'm talking about either matcha powder or matcha tea. For me, it was like matcha powder. And I was just like, what the hell's going on here? And, you know, this really brought me back to Matsukita, okay? Which I reviewed like maybe a month ago. That was like my last review by Clive Christian, where Matsukita was about the Japanese background or history. And that one talked about a Japanese princess, talked about a tea ceremony, and there was enough kind of like woodiness to make you think about the traditional Japanese houses. Well, here in this fragrance, guys, I will tell you, I don't know if that's intended. They put that in there as a sneak type of note, but you do think about the tea, okay? The matcha tea smell will come out here with some slight woody accents, guys. If you've tried Matsukita, it will take you back to something like that. And of course, the Chinese heritage, guys, like I'm part Chinese. I mean, we do have our own tea, all right? And it's not just bubble tea, we got the real tea. And of course, we also have, you know, those traditional wooden houses. We have the traditional wooden architecture over in China, for example. So definitely I would say the mixture of the golden peony, that calming sort of like water lily type smell, mixed with this matcha smell with some slight woodiness, does bring me back to something like that. And it's a really picturesque intro. I kind of like it, I kind of dig it. But of course, one of the questions that we're probably asking is, where is the rose? So let's get into the rose, guys, okay? Now, before the rose actually happens, before the rose comes in, the next thing that you're gonna smell with Rose de Chine is that there is a kind of soapiness that comes with it, okay? It's unmistakable as well. Just like the matcha, there's a soapy nature to this part headed to the rose, which is, again, maybe this is the way that they wanted to do it. Maybe this is part of the rose on rose distillation. Maybe it's not as natural as it seems. There is going to be some sort of soapiness right here past that matcha smell headed into the rose. And the rose right here, I would say, is like a darker rose. And it is a rose that actually plays back and forth with this golden peony type smell. It's actually an interplay between the rose and the golden peony. So for a minute right there, as you're smelling this matcha smell, you are going to smell, on one occasion, one whiff, you're gonna get the rose, and then on another whiff, you're gonna get the peony, and then back and forth. So this is a rare instance where, in my opinion, there are two stars of the show kind of playing back and forth with the peony and the rose. And the rose right here, I would say, is not overbearing. Some people might say that it's a background actor, but no, sometimes the rose does pop out like a main player in this fragrance. Now let's get into some fragcom feedback. A lot of people are saying that this fragrance is actually more girly than mature, and I don't believe that, okay? I don't think this is a girly type of rose perfume. I think that Rose Prick is probably the girly one if we're talking about Tom Ford right there, and I want to link my video right there if you guys want to check that out. I think that Rose Prick is the more girly out of all the Tom Ford rose fragrances, and this one right here is a little bit more like cultured, and it's more of like a career woman's type of perfume. And when I think about the usage of Tom Ford Rose de Chine, really I do think about that career woman that probably has more wisdom, more knowledge, and more experience than your usual girly girl that doesn't have a lot of experience. So I think that it's not mature. I wouldn't say that it's mature like it's for an older woman. I would say that if you are a woman that has a good head over your shoulders, and you are more cultured, you are more knowledgeable than other people, and you want to kind of show that, I think that this is perfect for you. Now, one of the reasons why I really say that is because once the interplay of the rose and the peony is done, once that's all done, that matcha smell is done, so is the soapiness, the note that really brings everything together, guys, is going to be your myrrh. And again, when you think about myrrh, guys, like myrrh is not in your girly girl perfumes, okay? And it's not even in most perfumes that are really easy to understand, right? So myrrh is the note that gels everything together. It all goes into the myrrh. It all funnels into the myrrh. And of course, myrrh has an exotic smell to it, okay? So definitely this myrrh denotes something that is not so girly, not too youthful, not too reckless, and it does smell like pretty cultural. Like it really does bring me back into that Chinese traditional architectural like background. And the final base note on this fragrance will be your labdanum, okay? So the labdanum is the one that really finishes everything off. You have that amber type smell, typical warming amber, and there's also some smokiness right there, guys. Okay, so you're gonna get the smokiness that is, again, I think about Matsukita, because Matsukita has that smokiness. It's not just about the tea, it's not just about the background, the wooden background of the traditional houses, it's not just about that water lily type smell. It's actually smoky as well. And you think about those incense sticks yet again. I think about those incense Buddhist sticks, and that smokiness comes into play just like that, guys. And that's care of your labdanum. So it gets smoky and then at the same time ambery towards the end. So again, just to give you guys a quick recap of everything, this starts off with fresh golden yellow peony, and then it goes into your matcha type smell with some soapiness, and then it interplays with a dark rose, with the peony and the rose playing back and forth. Then it goes funnels into your myrrh, and then the final ending would be an ambery cistus labdanum, an ambery smoky cistus labdanum that is also wonderful as well. I definitely recommend this, guys, especially on these transitional months where you have semi-cold days and headed to the spring. I think that this will be really wonderful because it is linked to, of course, the spirit of the season, the spirit of spring, when we're talking about the blooms and some nice green background sceneries. Like, definitely, I would say Rose de Chine, I suggest it. Now, what it is not going to be your average typical rose fragrance. And I think that's the plus side on owning Rose de Chine, because you're not going to smell like anybody else that just bought a rose fragrance, whether it's a generic rose fragrance or it's niche. I think that this is quite different. Again, the only thing that I can compare this to is Matsukita by Clive Christian. That's an expensive niche perfume right there. And it pulls off, like I said, the Chinese background, the Chinese backdrop, probably traditional, probably tea ceremony with some water lilies in the background and some roses. So it really pulls it off very well, guys, and I think that it's worth a try. It's worth a try if you're looking for something new, something that doesn't smell like most of your rose fragrances. Because even here, the rose is not a superstar player, okay? It actually interplays with the other star player. And it also reminds me of the rose that's in Rosendo number 7, where it's like, it's there, but it's not overwhelming. It's not gonna take over. You can't even really go and say that, oh yeah, it's a really rosy type fragrance, because it is not. I really think that they thought about the heritage part of it, the history part of it, the cultural part of it before they made this, I think. And I think that that's what they focused on, and that's exactly what you're gonna get, okay? Very calming, very nice. I think that it could be a day-to-day wear, but again, more towards the woman that is more experienced in life, more knowledgeable in life. And it shows in your outfit, it shows in your mannerisms, your way of walking, your way of talking. I think that this is a great compliment to that. This is not for the girly girls of LA at all. When it comes also to the performance of this fragrance, by the way, this one right here is a good 8 hours, okay? It's a good 8 hours. It's also a draw-in and aromatic scent, but it's also a calming scent. It is a fragrance that I think is for the wearer as well. So if you would like to get, you know, that double punch, you want to be able to smell great for other people, but at the same time, you want your own calmness, your own mood to be really nice. I think that this is a mood enhancer as well. Real calming, real nice, and it really does give off the spirit of spring. So if you're already shopping for spring fragrances, women out there, I think that you should check this out right here on your local Sephora. Okay, so that is it. That is my review of Tom Ford Rose de Chine. Thank you very much for being with me today. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you like what you saw. We have a ton of videos, over 500, no hype reviews, all you need to know fragrances and other lists and comparisons. I got it right here, okay? If it is a burning question in your head regarding fragrances, I probably answered it already. So check it out. Check out my other videos. And again, I appreciate you guys being there. I'll see you guys on the next video. Again, this is Troy D. God bless. Take care. Peace.